Welcome to Morning Laziness. This is Nilima KS, and today we are bringing to you an interview session with Ms. Angela Arena. Morning Laziness is an online magazine dedicated to women. It showcases various articles, personal life stories, and interview sessions on different matters concerning women. And today our interviewee, Ms. Angela, happens to be the founder of Kind Lab. So let us welcome our interviewee. Hello, Angela.
Hello, Nilima. Thanks so much for having me.
How are you doing today?
Not too bad. It's about -2 degrees out here in Boston, but suffer through it today.
That's great. So being an entrepreneur can be indeed a challenging profession. So how do you normally begin your day?
So usually I get up, my kids are teens now, so they get up and get themselves ready for school, which is great. It's an incredible time saver when you're an entrepreneur. So they come up and give me a kiss. And then the first thing I do is get up, it's always the first 15 minutes you feel so groggy and out of it. And usually after a little while, that to-do list starts stacking up in my head. But the first stop I make every day is to the gym. I joke that it's where I go to burn off the crazy, but to be honest, it's just a great way to get my body and my mind energized. I find that if I don't go, even on the days where I'm just really too busy or feeling a little bit lazy, I'm not nearly as productive. So that's usually my first stop. The gym I go to is a big community too. And as an entrepreneur, you just don't have a lot of time. I just don't get out that much. So it's a big part of my social and talking to friends and getting feedback. And we always joke that it's our little mini therapy session, but that is always the first stop of my day.
That's a great start. So what did you have on your breakfast platter today?
So I make my own kombucha and it is great for me. I was buying it, but it's incredibly expensive. And to be honest, it looks a little groovy in the corner. A lot of my friends' kids come over and they're like, what in God's green earth is that? But it's very easy to make. It's full of probiotics. And when you're really stressed, your stomach definitely, for me at least, a lot of it ends up in my stomach and it can take a toll. And your stomach has a very, very big connection with your mind. A lot of the happiness hormones and things like that, those chemicals all start from your stomach. So kombucha has tons of probiotics in it. And usually a big glass of that is how I get things going. It's also made with black tea. So it gives me a little bit of that caffeine jump start, just so I can kind of keep my energy up through the day. But kombucha is always number one for breakfast.
That sounds nutritional. So where are you from?
So I'm actually from the Massachusetts area. I live in Marblehead now with my husband and our 2 kids, and we love it here.
So tell me something unique or that makes it special to your heart.
So Marblehead, we're very lucky. We live right on the ocean, and just being able to sometimes smell the salt air just feels really good. It's very refreshing and it kind of can give you energy, helps you relax. And so we love keeping all the doors open so we can get, the smell through the house. And it's such a nice, unique feature of being able to live here.
That's great. So how are you coping up with the third wave of the pandemic?
So this wave has been very interesting to me because of the changes that I see in the calls that I'm getting. People who even 6 months ago felt like they were doing a great job kind of sucking it up are really starting to hit their max. People are incredibly stressed, and very depressed as well. Even people who are saying, wow, I'm lucky, I'm not so stressed out, but God, through my neck is really killing me. And I want to be okay, that is stress. When your back hurts, the top of your back, if that hurts, that's stress and anxiety. The bottom is depression and grief. That's very common. And people are really just they've really hit their max. And I know we've been saying there's a mental health epidemic going on along with this pandemic. And it's gotten to the point where people are really just spread so thin and holding on by, with bubble gum and, dental floss at this point. It's gotten really hard. So I'm kind of rolling along with everyone else. Just trying to keep my head above water and trying to help as many people as possible. More than anything, understand that what you see on social media and how other people are holding it together is not necessarily true. It is a small time, picture in time, and everybody is really struggling right now. And the isolation that has come across with being with pandemic, having to isolate and be by yourself has almost now conditioned to people who normally don't ask for help, which is very common with women. We're kind of we suck it up and just keep moving on because you have to. it's made it even worse. And people aren't talking about their problems and they're not getting help because of this. Like now we've kind of been conditioned to isolate and it's just gotten that much worse. So I don't think I'm any different from anyone else. I've just been really very fortunate to hold on to my exercise routine because I swear that is the one thing that really does keep me sane. And then just trying to get more people to reach out and get help and try to guide them to some of our Kind Lab products to help them, you know, prop up the sky during the day and be able to close their night and sleep, close their eyes and sleep well at night. So that's really what I've been focusing on. A lot of it has changed from your daytime depression. And like I said, a lot of people are starting to have real big issues with their body. Those people who've kind of been sucking it up and, you know, that stress goes somewhere and that sadness goes somewhere. And if it's not coming out in your emotions, it's going to manifest in your body. So just trying to work through that on my own personally, as well as, you know, help guide people through that and help them understand that there is help and we should all be asking for support.
Very true. And it seems like you have been using the time wisely and productively during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually been a great time for me to kind of step back. I had a physical store before the pandemic in a neighboring town called Beverly. And when the pandemic hit, obviously nobody came in for months because everything here shut down. And it really gave me an opportunity to reflect. You know, a big thing I was worried about with having the physical store was if I moved online, what if people stopped coming in? Well, then of course that happened. People had to stop coming in. And I was able to really ramp up my e-commerce and start focusing on evolving my product line, looking really at the formulas that I had, looking at what problems I was able to solve, what problems I still couldn't solve. Sadness was a big one for me. CBD is great for anxiety, but not as good for depression and sadness. So that was a new formula that I came out with, our new lift capsules with saffron in them and that kind of thing. So that helped boost your mood and help balance your adrenals and that kind of thing. So it really gave me the opportunity to step back, see, you know, what products were really helping people and how do I make those products better? And for those areas that I had holes and I knew that I was really having trouble being able to help people, launching new formulas to be able to do that.
That's great. So now let us move on to some questions about the Kind Lab. So introduce Kind Lab to our women readers.
Sure. So basically, I make plant-based wellness solutions for women, mostly women over 40, but obviously for any women, with the idea that a lot of us want to live natural lifestyles, but women especially tend to not want to complain. So we don't want to go to the doctor, and maybe we're not really, because we feel like we're complaining, and we don't necessarily want to get on a bunch of prescription drugs. That makes us a little nervous, but where we are is not sustainable. And the other thing too is just making sure that women, and this happened, these are all, you know, all advice is autobiographical. As women, we tend to give, and then at the end of the day, our cup is completely empty and we have nothing left for ourselves. That's something that happened to me. So the big messages with Kind Lab is really encouraging women and helping them understand the importance of prioritizing their own health and wellness and why keeping your cup full is anything but selfish. It's really like the truest form of self-love. And then also to make natural wellness products accessible to them and to make ones that work specifically for, you know, to work with and for a woman's body. There are a lot of gender neutral brands and brands that skew towards men, and even in the healthcare industry, a lot of clinical studies and stuff like that are run for men, but women, we have different needs and we have very different bodies. And a lot of the times those needs and wants go unanswered, both in the wellness space and in the healthcare space. So my goal was to create natural solutions. CBD rich hemp is a common ingredient across all my products, trying to educate women on the many benefits, but just making those products accessible so women can start feeling better and like I said, keep their cups full.
That's great. So this is quite basic questions. How do you actually hemp?
One more time, how do you hemp?
Yeah.
So just to get everyone, because I don't know how your listenership, how educated they are, but cannabis is the family of plants. There's hemp and marijuana. THC and CBD are the primary compounds in cannabis. It's kind of like vitamin C in an orange. Marijuana is very high in THC. That's what's responsible for that euphoric high you get. There's only trace amounts in hemp, but hemp is very high in CBD, which is great for wellness, as well as other chemical compounds. So how to hemp is you can use it topically. A lot of people will use it for body aches and pains. It helps reduce swelling and inflammation. And unlike, kind of more traditional things that you get in the, in a CVS or something like that, it's not just masking a problem, it's actually starting to help, kind of get you out of the point where you don't have the problem anymore. When ingested, it is also from the inside out, helps with a lot of body swelling, inflammation, that kind of thing. It's also great to balance your body. That is the whole point of hemp. It's actually an adaptogen. It helps you balance, it helps your body balance against internal and external stresses. And that's what you want. Your body's always looking for homeostasis to stay balanced. So for people who have issues that hit multiple systems in their body, their nervous system, their adrenal system, that kind of thing, hemp can help balance across those systems and help basically improve your quality of life. So what I usually do is tell people to start off low with lower doses and slowly increase. With topicals, you use them a couple of times a day, but it can really help enhance your wellness. And for people who kind of aren't used to feeling better, especially my favorite is when I try to explain to people what it feels like to be balanced, to be calm. And if I say calm and you think sleepy, it means you're stressed and you probably haven't felt calm in a long time. And once you feel that, and once you feel like being comfortable in your own body, it really does make a huge difference. And like I said, that's a big part of Kind Lab, is educating people so they understand that nature really can work for you.
That sounds interesting. So what magic does the rest juice perform? For this interview, when I had visited your website, I'd seen a lot of products like the rest juice, the lip balms. I was curious, what exactly do they all do? So tell me, what magic does the rest juice perform?
So the rest juice are specifically for sleep. They have CBD in them. Obviously, again, CBD is great for body internal and external stress, help balancing that. It helps calm your mind. That little hamster in the wheel kind of slows it down, as well as helps relax your body, which a lot of people carry a lot of tension in their bodies. It also has CBN in them, which kind of if you get back to that orange and vitamin C, obviously there's a lot more than just vitamin C in that orange. There's a lot more than CBD and hemp. And CBN is another cannabinoid. It is very similar. It's almost like a natural tranquilizer. So it gives it that additional boost to help people really jumpstart your body and your mind into getting into that tranquil space where you can fall and stay asleep, because a lot of people are struggling with that. It also has magnesium in it, magnesium glycinate. What I love about magnesium is we used to get a lot more magnesium in our diets, but with newer agricultural processes, there's not as much in the soil and we're not getting as much through our diets. And being magnesium deficient feels very similar to having anxiety. So we just add a little bit of magnesium in there just to trying to give multi-pronged approaches. And the rest juice are really if you're very much struggling to sleep, how do we get you there? So the additional magnesium glycinate really helps relax your body with the idea of, to help you fall and stay asleep. So those ones are a magical formula. They've been extremely popular just because people are really struggling with sleep when they try to wind down at night and they just, like I said, can't get that hamster in the wheel to slow down. They're a great option. And I love, if people come to me with issues, sleep is always the first one I talk to them about, because a lot of time, if you're struggling with sleep, you're having trouble during the day, whether that's because, your back is hurting you, so you're struggling to sleep, you're super stressed, so you're struggling to sleep, you are going through hormone shifts like menopause, you're struggling with sleep. Once you solve for sleep, a lot of the rest of your problems really see a big boost in improvement.
Well, that was really informative, and sleep is yet a really important part of your body, part of your life, in fact. And with menopause and puberty, people suffer from a lack of sleep, and due to which they go through other problems as well. So sleep is something really important. Right. Now, what does the Lift lip balm do?
So the Lift lip balm is a vegan lip balm. It's actually very, very moisturizing. What I don't like about a lot of commercial lip balms is they actually feel good when you put them on, but over time are actually not good for your lips and causing more problems. And so then you tend to use them more. So I did not want to do that. So this is a nice vegan lip balm, all organic ingredients. It has CBD in it, which is great. I mean, obviously I said it's like 10 degrees here today. When you live in, kind of more extreme climates and you're dealing with a lot of air conditioning and things like that, your lips can get dry and cracked. It very much helps with that. And then what I did in the lip balm, because I knew you were going to be putting it on your lips near your nose, I put in an essential oil blend that actually helps reduce food cravings, with the idea of, again, all advice is autobiographical. I'm very much a stress eater. So if I can give you something that you're going to put on, not only are you going to moisturize your lips and help with any cracking and that kind of thing, but it's going to give your brain a little serving suggestion of, if you're stressed, let's not keep pivoting to food, because even though it makes you feel good briefly, that's not the solution your body needs. And so the idea is it just kind of helps like reduce the munchies during the day, which again, it just ends up being a habit that you get into to cope, but isn't serving you. So, everything I have kind of has that little bit of, usurp intent with it. And that's really the Lift Lip Balm, is to try to keep people from leaning back on some of those old, more destructive habits, because they really don't serve you in the long run.
I really like the fact about the dual benefit factor you have with this product, to decrease your food craving and at the same time have moisture lips. Because I'm also one of them who suffer from dry lips and have to use for the lipstick with the stick one, and cannot opt for a matte one because of the dryness, and I suffer from them a lot. So I constantly use the Vaseline or drink water, so I can understand the situation that we're going through now. Right. So what are the CBD dosing approaches?
So there are a couple of approaches, and these are really more specific to when you're actually ingesting something like a chew or a gummy. There's a microdosing approach, where you take little bits all day long. That is great for people who want to really more fine tune how they're feeling, and really for people who are more sensitive to CBD. A side effect of taking too much CBD is sleepiness. So that obviously works in your favor at night. You want to take a little bit more at night, but during the day when you just want to feel calm, not sleepy, you just want to reduce stress, but you don't want to be yawning in the middle of your day because you have a lot going on. That can be, you want to take a little bit less during the day. So that can be a little bit of struggle for some people. So for some people that are very sensitive or just kind of want that kind of more consistent feeling throughout the day, microdosing is great. So instead of taking like one gummy in the morning, maybe you take a half a bite of it at 9 a.m., you take the other half at noon or something like that. So it's taking small amounts throughout the day. It's also a great way to find your optimal dose. Like, you can take a little, a couple of drops of a concentrate. Did that help you? An hour later, take a few more drops an hour later, and then all of a sudden kind of that wave of calm will hit you and you can say, oh, that's great. Clearly, this is how much I need. You add up how many drops you've taken so far, and the next day you can just start at that one dose. So that's your microdosing, is taking those tiny amounts so you're not getting the unwanted effects, which in the case of CBD is usually sleepiness, but you're being able to maintain the feelings that you are looking for. And then there's more of the traditional approach where you just take that one single dose and that lasts you throughout the day. You may see a little more peaks and valleys with that, but just depending on your sensitivity, that may not be an issue. And if it peaks and you yawn for 10 minutes during the day, not a big deal. So for some people, that's just more convenient. You take it in the morning and you forget about it, or you take your gummy at night and it's done. So it really just depends on, there is a little bit of trial and error, which I know in this world with, pharmaceuticals, people think you pop a pill, it's done, ta-da. But there really is no silver bullet, even with pharmaceuticals. So, there is a little bit of a trial and error and experimentation, but everyone can find the right amount that works, the right approach that works for you, as well as your optimal dose. But those are the two big ones. It's kind of like the traditional, taking that one big dose a couple times a day, or the microdosing where you're taking a small amount more consistently.
Right. Now, where do you see the Kind Lab in the next 5 years?
So I'm actually going to be expanding the business. Right now, obviously, on the national level, we make products with adaptogens, nootropics, so other plant-based multifunctional ingredients, CBD-rich hemp being the primary one. But what I'm doing in Massachusetts now is I'm actually we have adult use marijuana here. So I'm pursuing a retail license as well as a product manufacturing license, with the idea of creating a line of products with marijuana in them for people who either need or want THC in their products. And some people do. Some people who are less sensitive to CBD adding in that little bit of THC from marijuana just kind of flips that switch and helps them get that much more out of their products, or they want it. That euphoric high makes them feel good. Or in the case of women's sexual health, CBD is great for helping you feel more comfortable in your body, but from a pleasure perspective, THC is really the key. So it also allows me to create some products that I haven't been able to achieve with all the various plants that I work with now. I can achieve those things with marijuana, as well as, like I said, for those people who either need or want a little bit of THC to help them get through their days and nights. It allows me to be able to serve those customers as well. So I'll be expanding into the marijuana space this year.
We wish you all the best for all those future endeavors. And lastly, what do you think this world needs the most?
There's a reason why we call it Kind Lab. People really just need to be more kind, especially to themselves. People especially women, are so self-critical and cut themselves so little slack. And I always say, if someone else said that some of the things that go through your heads to you would be horrified. Don't say it to yourself. So give yourself a little kindness, give yourself a little breathing room, especially as you said, we enter this third year of the pandemic. And it will just help improve your mindset and help you live the life that you deserve.
Well, on that beautiful message, we come to the end of this interview session. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you for patiently answering all our queries and questions. We hope the audience enjoyed this session too.
Thank you.